Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro, where I'll be showing you how to take headlights like this, which a customer could not complete himself, and take them into something like this. Beautiful.
Damn, I ain't never seen no shit
Picture
like
perfect perfection, and you can achieve this with this method if you follow my instructions. And oh yeah, fuck, he started with the P800. What is this?
Roll your window down, start there. So you gotta hear the street, you gotta smell it, you know? You gotta taste that shit, feel it. Learn that shit, brother. Learn that shit will get you killed. You motherfuckers out here plotting all kinds of shit behind your back.
Let's get down to business. This is a 2006 Toyota Matrix, and I did another vehicle for this guy, but this guy called me out. He tried to do this one himself, save him some money, and ended up messing up this headlight like this. The good thing about it is, as you see, I'm starting with the P800. Why is that? Why is that? Check out this video because this is the number 9 on this video here, which is very important. It is the second to first most easiest way to get your headlights done, or easiest way to do your headlights, or what headlights are the easiest and hardest. That's what the video is about. This is number 2, the easiest. Why? Because it looks like it barely had any clear coat to start with, and then the customer tried to do it himself with sandpaper. So he knocked off whatever, little bit was left, and there's very little bit left. What's left is just in the pores. So what I did is opt to start with the P800. I've been waiting to show you guys this. I've been experimenting with this, and you're going to be seeing this in the next couple of videos or whatever in the future. I'm running across lights that do not need a heavier, coarser grit because all the clear coat is gone, or the customer tried to do it himself, jacked it up. Of course, there's some little, luckily he didn't use a too abrasive sandpaper, which a lot of them do, but he knocked off what little remaining is left, and I'm doing the rest with the P800 to minimize the damage left behind by anything else harder, because I don't need to use them. So it's a bonus whenever you can start off at a P800. You're not only saving time and money, but you're saving a lot of time and money in terms of having to get rid of or mask or eliminate those swirls and striations left behind by the higher grits, or the lower grits but higher strength, like the P500 or P320 or anything like that. You're literally skipping a step with this process of this headlight because there's no need to grind down the P500. And that's the thing where you have to hone in your skills, and you have to get your eye for the headlights, your feel for the headlights, because not every headlight is going to start with P500. P500 and under, or even a P600 and under, are wrecking ball grits. Okay, they're demolished grits. They're to remove stuff. They're not to shape and sand stuff. Anything 800 and over are to sand stuff, or anything 800 to say, I don't know, maybe 1200 are to shape and knock down and repair stuff. Anything 1200 up to like 5000 or so is going to be in the range of smoothing out, and pretty much they're like one notch before. The further up you get, it's like one notch before polishing stages and stuff like that. And even nowadays with this new technology, the Trizact technology, it's a whole different genre. You almost can't even consider it a sandpaper. It's just totally different. It does magic stuff, and it's very beneficial to use those. But anyhow, you're not always going to start with P500. I'm going to say you know, 90% of the headlights out there, you're going to start with the P800. They're going to have a lot of damage. Okay, these kind of lights have a lot of damage. These kind of lights have a lot of clear coat left over, stuff like that. 90% of the time. The other, you know, 5% of the time, it's going to be, you know, those hard lights where you're going to have to drop lower than a P800 and this and that. And that other 5% of the time, you're going to run into lights that is probably less than 5%, you know, but it's probably like a 2%. You're going to run into lights like this, which is that perfect 9, where most of the shit is already, you know, taken off, and this happens naturally as well. It happens naturally where, in this video right here, I show you another way it happens naturally. This one was not natural. The guy did it. It was close to natural, just being dissipated or, you know, oxidized and eroded where it's just gone. But in this video, it actually shows you natural occurrence, which is like less than 1% happens. It only happens like every other year, maybe. This one happens a couple of times a year. That's how rare it is, you know, that you can, you know, pull up on a light that needs no P800 or nothing like that. You're kind of, you know, cutting the steps in half. You definitely couldn't have started on this step. You couldn't have. There were still very minute clear coat left over in those pockets. Okay, he sanded but didn't go deep enough. But it was about, let's say, 98% gone. But that other 2% is a bitch because it's inside of those pockets, okay, just like a sponge. If you think of a sponge, imagine a sponge, right? The surface of it with the holes and stuff like that. That's what the surface of the polycarbonate looks like when it's raw and bare and unpolished, right? So if you dripped in some wax or something in the sponge and then you removed all of the sponge, what would it look like? Exactly. It's going to have all these like reverse drips or drips, you know, that go down further than the surface of the sponge. So when you're dealing with a headlight or coating of a headlight, that's what's going on with the headlight. Even if you polish it all the way out, when we polish and we clear coat, just like the factory does, they clear coat the headlight at its clearest point, its smoothest and perfected point. Okay, these guys out here are doing it when it's like they'll sand with like a 500 and that's it, and they'll spray, right? They're counting and relying on their clear coat to make it clear, but what happens is they're having those drips that go back, and even though it's clear to the human eye or a camera, when the light comes on, I guarantee it, they don't even realize that they're selling a product that's inferior because the light is only working at probably 65% of its capacity. They're probably losing like 100 yards, 50 to 100 yards of light in some cases. Okay, because of those reverse drips that scatter the light. Okay, not only does the if they're using, you typically when they do that method, they're using a 2K clear, okay, or some kind of weird ceramic shit or whatever, or you know, an acrylic, something that's not supposed to be on a headlight. So on top of that, the headlight is refractoring. The light that's coming out is refractoring from the actual substance on top of those drips. Okay, check that out, or check more about that out in this video here, and it will show you a more in-depth, more scientific in-depth than I could go into in this video about that and why clear coating headlights like that does not work. It gives you a false illusion of clarity and, you know, doing something correct. That is not correct. If you pulled up one of these headlights next to one of those that were properly done, both of them were properly done at the highest level of that method, you would see a huge difference. I've done this test before and looking forward to doing it again someday, but it's hard to do it on your own vehicles or somebody else's vehicles, because doing somebody else's vehicles, it just gets weird. When you do it on your own vehicle, you have to set up at nighttime, this and that, and then guess what? You have to take off all this 2K clear shit. I don't even want to do it. I did it once and I regretted putting it on my lights just to test it out. So it is what it is. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like a dim lit room versus a you know, 10,000 watt room. It's insane. But check those videos out, and you know, you don't always have to start with that P800. I've never started any higher than a P800. Of course, it just wouldn't make any sense. You know, if you started with if I started, say, if I had a 1000, a P1000, it would be a little too light to do the removal that I needed. If I started with P600 or something, it would have been too heavy or too heavy. I still could have done it and still work the steps. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. If you're not experienced enough or you don't feel comfortable doing that, theoretically, you can still use that P500 and do the original method, right? Without skipping that step. And it will still come out perfectly fine. It's just you removed a little bit more material than you had to. Okay, you created a little bit more problem than you had to. You want to use, get into the method of the process of using the correct disc for the job. Okay, why? Because those heavier discs, or each disc is going to have more cleanup to do behind it. That's going to cut your speed down. That's going to make you work harder. You got to work smarter, not harder. If you're interested in seeing how or why headlights go bad, right, and you want to see how they're actually made in a factory setting, which I have it in a couple of videos, but this is the first one that comes to mind, check out this video here. This is one of the most or must-watch videos, I would say. If anybody said, hey, what video should I watch? This one stands out. That's like top 5. You have to watch that to kind of see what's going on and why the headlights go bad. If you want to see a video snippet of headlights actually being made in the factory and see that they're clear just like this before the machines spray coat them with a UV clear coat, you know, exactly like this, you know, go ahead and check that video out. They do not spray them when they're foggy for a reason. They want peak performance and they want to max out that light output, okay, and some other things as well, which I'm not going into, like the fact that if you have those reverse drips in there and you're dealing with a polycarbonate substance which breathes, which flexes in heat and cold, and when it gets hot, it expands, it loosens. When it gets cold, it shrinks kind of tightly, you know, more tight together. Now, when you have those substances on the surface that are penetrated in there with those reverse drips, typically a hard substance like 2K or whatever, what kind of calamity do you think will happen? If you have common sense, you would know something happens, right? But I'm gonna tell you what happens. It kind of implodes on itself. It cannot breathe. Imagine wrapping your lungs with, you know, I don't know, gauze or something, or like a shrink wrap or something, and then trying to breathe. You'd probably die, right? It would, you know, something would happen sooner or later. It would implode on themselves. But while we're on the topic or whatever, make sure you check out the bio. There's always good stuff in the bio. There's always good links in there to show you anything that I am using, and a lot more than I use in a day-to-day basis, because I do more than just headlight restoration, and there's a lot of things on here that you're not seeing that I'm using on every video that is in there, and it is for viewing so you can get the stats on it or whatnot. And it is also in there for purchase with a direct link through Amazon, okay, which has the best prices. And these are the same links that I use to purchase everything that you've seen on this video, the same exact links, okay. I don't like show you guys this shit and go buy my stuff somewhere else. I don't. I buy it through the same links and the same, you know, same vendors, all that stuff, same Amazon. But look at that. That's better than the day rolled off the lot. Look at this close up right here. This is about 5 inches away from the light. Look at that. Not a nick, not a ding. Perfect. Not a blur, not a nothing. There's a big blue canopy overhead right now because this is one of the last hot days of the summer. But nevertheless, this is perfection always, you know. And that's somebody saying how this method is so consistent. If you see other people's method, and I don't say it to like bash them or whatever, that I'm trying to turn them over to the dark side, right? Okay. They're sitting there, you know, hand sanding and doing all this shit, right? The consistency level is really low. You can watch 10 of their videos and be like, each one of these headlights has a different finish and they look different, right? Watch 10 of my videos, what will you see? Every fucking light looks the same, right? Exactly. But a lot of people don't have the drive. A lot of people don't, you see all this, hold on there. See all the striations there? Okay, that's from him doing that light. And now this is the other light, of course, that I did. But a lot of people don't have that drive or whatnot, and they're just content with being, you know, mediocre. But this is fine. There's, you know, a spot in the world for everybody. But I just want to show you this. I was walking my dog, Olive, okay, my mascot, and saw this. This is like a 2021 or 2022 Nissan Rogue. Now look at that. That is a pain in the ass headlight. Doable, but just look at all those turns and all that, how it sucks under right there. And then like, what do you charge? Because it's basically 4 lights on each side. That's my girl Olive right there. That's my 4-legged daughter. But yeah, like I said, this is a brand new Nissan Rogue, you know, new enough. It's over 2020 and it's, you know, I'm not looking forward to it, but hey, fuck it.
Roll your window down, start there. So you gotta hear the street, you gotta smell it, you know? You gotta taste that shit, feel it. Learn that shit, brother. Learn that shit will get you killed. You motherfuckers out here plotting all kinds of shit behind your back.